The Mega Man series is well respected, and for good reason. Capcom has given us some fantastic platformers, but that doesn't change the fact that some dumb decisions were made. Today I'll be covering 10 of the dumbest things in the classic Mega Man series, not including Mega Man and Bass because I've never played it.
I strongly believe Albert's research must stop.
I strongly believe that these recordings were done in one take. Let's be honest, the voice acting in this series has never been great. Never been good even. Mega Man 11's actors sound like they haven't had a social interaction with another human being in decades, but that pales in comparison to the series' first attempt at using voice acting.
Mega Man, today we finish this!
Hey, Zach! Why must I fight you? We are not enemies!
Shut up!
Where do I begin? The choppy sentences, the fact that Bass's response to Mega Man's argument is shut up, or maybe the fact that Mega Man can't even pronounce one of the main characters' names correctly.
Hey, Zach!
Don't run away, coward. You'll pay for this insult. I'll be back.
I'm sorry, what? Why is he so quiet when he's talking to Mega Man? That's a pretty long distance to expect a whisper to travel. You know, he'd probably sound a lot louder if he opened his mouth when he tried to talk.
I'll be back.
The funniest lines definitely come from the cutscenes, but the bosses are also pretty fun, so long as you're deaf.
I'll be nice on you!
How threatening. In what way is this being nice on me? The water levels in Mega Man tend to have some major flaws. For instance, these bubbles aren't a very fun gameplay mechanic. Certain levels have given kids seizures, and sometimes Capcom simply forgets to put Mega Man in the water. I can look past all those things, but I draw the line at the spikes. If Mega Man touches one of these, then he dies instantly. My least favorite part about these spikes is that there have been multiple times over the course of the series where you drop down from one screen to the next and have no way of seeing where the spikes are going to be before it's too late. The next time someone makes a Mega Man game and wants to add spikes to the level, they should look at the way Dive Man stage did it. Or maybe they shouldn't use spikes at all. In my opinion, Mega Man 7 is the most underrated title in the classic series, but I can understand why not everyone would agree. It was made in 3 months, and in some ways it really shows. Before you start up the intro stage, Otto gives Mega Man his helmet, but whoops, it looks like he accidentally gave him the wrong one. This stupid joke goes on for about 15 seconds, which is about 15 seconds longer than it probably should have. Despite how weird that is, I wouldn't consider it the dumbest thing in Mega Man 7. That title goes to Burst Man stage. Specifically, the decorations. It looks like somebody took a JPEG of a beaker and stuck it in the background. Then you reach the water, and it looks like all the Mets have been urinating in there for quite a while. It's honestly impressive how visually unappealing this stage is. If you ask me which one of these guys was supposed to be Freeze Man, I would have to really think about it because, realistically, they should all be called that. There shouldn't be an ice robot master named Tundra Man. A tundra is a location. Capcom ran out of straightforward names by the time they reached the later games, and apparently they ran out of straight robot masters as well.
I'm like a rose, frozen in ice.
What's even worse are names like Impact Man. What does that even mean? I could go on, but there's so many bad names. I guess that's what happens when you have to find 11 different ways to say fire. They just crack open a thesaurus, stick a random word in front of man, and there you go. Perfect name for a robot master. Mega Man 2's weapon system is broken. Anyone who's played the game knows how overpowered the Metal Blade is. It can be thrown in 8 directions, it barely consumes any energy, and it really packs a punch. Metal Man himself instantly dies the second his own weapon so much as grazes him. And by graze I mean slice through his entire body, but you get the idea. He dies in one hit. Weapons like Bubble Lead, on the other hand, are useless in most cases. It quite literally dinks off the enemies. I think that right there is proof enough that not all the weapons were created equally. When I think of concrete, the first thing I think of is trees. Just a bunch of trees. And maybe some elephants. If I had to fight 3 elephants in a row, that would be awesome. The only other thing I could ask for is some random blocks that move up or down when you stand on them. If those were tagged on to the end of a level for no particular reason, then it would be perfect. What's super cool is that Concrete Man stage has all those things. What's not super cool is that I actually don't like any of the things I mentioned earlier because I don't think anybody does. There's something called sarcasm. To me, it's pretty obvious that Concrete Man stage is trying to be some sort of homage to Woodman stage, which wouldn't be a terrible idea considering that Woodman has one of the better levels in Mega Man 2, except that this is the type of level design that Mega Man 2 found acceptable. The reason I'm so disappointed in Concrete Man stage is because the rest of Mega Man 9 is great. It's my favorite Mega Man game. So why did this level have to be so nonsensical? Appearing blocks, which are sometimes called Yoku blocks, are perhaps one of the worst Mega Man tropes. Heatman stage is probably the most infamous example of how to use them incorrectly. I was pretty young when I played this game for the first time, but I distinctly recall thinking that the appearing blocks were a cool idea because you had to memorize when to jump. That's why, in 4th place, we have the opinions of a 6-year-old, because boy was I dumb back then. Now I can see that the appearing blocks are annoying. You have to die in order to learn what to do, and even then, there are times when I'm not fast enough or forget where the blocks are going to show up. The one-screen puzzles that feature these things frustrate me a little bit. I'm not great at thinking under pressure in case you couldn't tell, even if that pressure is a small enemy that I should be able to jump over very easily. Of course, there's another one. Well, I'm glad I won't have to deal with that again. My least favorite boss in all of Mega Man is the Boo Beam Trap. Think about it this way. Before this battle, you're fighting dragons and tanks. This boss is 5 semicircles attached to a wall. In order to destroy them, you need to use crash bombs. The only problem is that there are walls that must be blown up using crash bombs in order to reach them. So the whole battle is a puzzle to figure out the best way to conserve energy. I don't play Mega Man because I want to sit around and solve puzzles. I play it because I want to run around and shoot things. In a simulated video game world that is not real. The second dumbest thing in all of Mega Man is Mega Man 8 as a whole. I've covered the atrocious voice acting already, but that's only scratching the surface. About midway through the intro stage, Dr. Light interrupts Mega Man to say, "Here, have a soccer ball." And this is the point where I feel like quitting. But it gets worse. Look at Clown Man's stage. There's so much crap on the screen. I can't see the enemies that I'm supposed to be attacking. There are 2 major issues that I have with this game. First of all, certain levels are built like mazes. Astro Man stage is the best example of this. It's confusing because everything looks the same. And that's not an over-exaggeration. After a few minutes, I learned that the entire level looped around, so I actually was aimlessly wandering around in the same place. The second thing I can't stand about Mega Man 8 is that it relies on its gameplay mechanics a bit too much. Once again, look at Clown Man stage. I don't know what half of these things do, but it looks like I'm playing Candyland right now. I would rather it look like I'm playing Mega Man. Mega Man 4 decided to switch up the traditional story of Dr. Wily being the main villain. Instead, a man by the name of Dr. Cossack is responsible for all the havoc. So Mega Man goes through his entire castle and fights Dr. Cossack and his claw machine. Proto Man waits until the very last moment to bring Dr. Cossack's daughter to Mega Man. She explains that Dr. Wily took her hostage, making the old scientist the actual villain once again. Then, in Mega Man 5, Proto Man turns evil. You go through his entire fortress and learn that Proto Man was actually a fake evil robot that Dr. Wily created and named Dark Man. This makes Dr. Wily the true final boss, and a racist. Mega Man 6 introduces Mr. X, who has been manipulating Dr. Wily the whole time. So, the Blue Bomber fights his way to Mr. X and defeats him. So Mr. X was Dr. Wily the whole time. Why am I not surprised? The fact that Dr. Wily got his costume from the same place Clark Kent gets his probably had something to do with it. This was essentially his whole costume. The plot of Mega Man 4 and 5 being the same as this one was a pretty big giveaway as well. I don't think there's a single person who didn't see this plot twist coming. It's the dumbest thing in all of Mega Man. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, you should probably hit the like and subscribe button, because that will make other people more likely to hear about this very important subject, and it will keep you updated on all my future videos. Sorry if I seem too negative in this video, but that was sort of the whole point of it, so I guess I'm not sorry. Goodbye.